If you're running Advantage Plus shopping campaigns within your Facebook structure, you should be following one of these two structural SOPs. There's two ways in which you can use Advantage Plus campaigns within your overall account. And both of these recommendations and SOPs align with measured results that we've actually tested within accounts. And number two is that they're grounded in mental models of having an understanding of the platform. If you're ever going to roll out an SOP, you need both of these things. You need actual measured data that statistically proves that it is the best way to structure an account. And you need it to be grounded in actual mental models of the understanding of the platform, or else you're just looking at data and split tests that you've run, but you have no idea why you're actually running it in the account. The two options for how to structure Advantage Plus within an account is number one, a single large budget Advantage Plus campaign, which I'm going to dive into in more detail. Or option number two is to have multiple different Advantage Plus campaigns that are split by profit contribution at a product level. Now you can get this one very, very wrong. And so I'm going to go into a few different scenarios in which you should be doing it and shouldn't be applying that particular strategy. So starting off with option one, a single large budget Advantage Plus. What this actually looks like is very similar to a previous video that we have on our structured testing framework, which is where you have a dedicated testing campaign. It's an ABO, it's optimizing for conversions. You're running consistent tests at the ad set level with KPI measures in place to determine whether it's a successful test or not with statistical relevancy. That then goes into an analysis process that then feeds into future tests. Now, once we're finding winning creatives, winning angles, winning creative formats, we can then pull these out into our dedicated scaling campaigns, in this case being one large Advantage Plus. So every time we find a new winning creative or a new winning ad format, we can then pull this out and start running it in that large budget Advantage Plus campaign. The mental model behind why this works so effectively is because you're consolidating conversion data into a single campaign to enable better customer modeling. So Facebook has told us that conversions get split at the campaign level, and that each different campaign, similar to how Google is structured and operates as well, has different levels of machine learning based on the conversion data set within that campaign. And so when you take a ad account and you make 10, 15 different campaigns, you're splitting the budget between them and therefore splitting the conversions attributed between them and getting worse results because you're not providing the campaign with enough conversions on a weekly and a monthly basis to be able to allow it to hone in on your actual target demographic by having enough different psychographic data points on your end consumers. So that's the reason why this structure works. This is being used very, very consistently across most large Facebook accounts at the moment, and I'm seeing it work incredibly effectively. However, there is a caveat to using this strategy, and there's a reason why you won't want to structure in this way, and you'll want to go for option two instead, which is structuring based on profit contribution. And I've got an example of two products here so that you can get an understanding of why one large bucketed Advantage Plus campaign might not work. And let me minimize my camera here so you can see everything that I'm about to run through. You have one product that's a hoodie. It has a price of $90, COGS of 21, and we have a blended CAC target or a blended ROAS target of 2, which is a 50% CAC, which means $45 in CAC. Profit contribution of this product is 24. Comparatively on the t-shirt, we have a profit contribution of $12. And so as a business, we would prefer to sell this product than we would this product, as it drives more profit contribution per unit that we're moving. Now, with most Advantage Plus campaigns, they're set up using maximized number of conversions. And what this means is that Facebook is optimizing for the lowest CPA ads and will prioritize spend distribution to them. And so in this instance, the ad with the lower CPA is this one right here. It's got a $25 CPA compared to the $45 over here. And so this product is going to get heavily prioritized within that large budget Advantage Plus campaign. This is where majority of your spend is going to go, and this is what the campaign is going to prioritize placing to optimize for your performance goal. Now, the easy solution here is why don't we just switch over to maximize value of conversions? On Google, this would be similar to maximizing value rather than maximize conversions. This doesn't fix the problem. And on the surface, it might seem that it fixes the problem, but let's actually run through some math and explain why. And I've gone backwards on the math here. The easy short answer is it's because both of these have a 2 ROAS, and maximize value is optimizing for ROAS rather than CPA, and therefore there's no difference. But to run you through an actual example, if you put $500 of spend into this campaign, 250 goes to each product. That will then result in 5.56 units being sold here because it costs us 45 to get a unit sold and we're spending 250. Over here it's 10 units. Then we multiply by the retail price to get the revenue generated. And you'll see that in both of these instances, despite the difference in profit contribution, the revenue is the exact same. And so this conversion goal optimizes for revenue and it won't make a difference. I actually take that back, sorry. It will make a difference. This is the better option because in this instance, it will optimize for both equally. So both of these products are outputting equal revenue and therefore it will get even split of budget allocation between these two ads moving forward in time. In this first instance, what's happening is that it will just go and heavily prioritize the t-shirt because it has a considerably lower CPA. So you are in a better instance if you're maximizing for value, and I'd always recommend maximizing for value and not maximizing for CPAs because of this exact scenario that plays out in almost every brand. However, it still isn't a complete fix. In reality, we likely want some additional budget going here, some additional prioritization on the product that's going to be yielding higher profit contribution. Because if we look at these two scenarios in this exact situation, this product on the left here is yielding about $133 in profit contribution. Whereas on the right, we're yielding 12 times 10, which is $120 in profit contribution. So this is still a much more profitable product to sell by about 10 to 15%. And so we want to have priority here. So how can you structure your campaigns accordingly? Well, we could split by individual SKUs or by individual collections, but this structure isn't really scalable because it means that every time you have a new product or anytime you introduce a new collection, you're going to have an entirely new campaign. And very quickly, if you're a large brand with 1,000 plus, 2,000 plus SKUs, this starts to not become very applicable at all. So instead, what I recommend is segmenting your campaign structure based on profit contribution buckets. You have all of your products that have profit contribution of less than $20. Let's bucket them into a campaign. Anything with $20 to $100 are in a campaign, and then $100 plus are in a separate campaign. And that way, you're still having a relatively consolidated structure, but you're able to have different priorities and goals for those individual campaigns, and also allow you to allocate budget accordingly. Now, this is reliant on you actually understanding what your profit contribution is at a product level and at a collection level. And that's where I'd recommend using a pricing calculator like we're seeing here, so that you can determine what your actual goal profit contribution is in relation to CAC per product or category, so that you can actually do this setup in the first place. Now, there's common mistakes that you could easily make when you're going ahead and running this setup. The first one is segmenting based on profit contribution percentage. Do not split campaigns based on percentage gross margin or percentage profit contribution. And the reason why you don't want to do this is because the instance that I've been running through, this example that I've been running through throughout this video, the profit contribution percentage is the same. So it isn't a good representation of which product is actually driving higher profit contribution to the business. When you're looking at percentages, it skews the numbers. And therefore, in this instance, you would have, for example, taken 20 to 30% profit contribution products, put them into a campaign, and you would have ended up with these two products in the same campaign. Despite us understanding that the actual profit contribution to the business between these two products is substantially different. Now, the other option is if you don't want to do buckets of dollar amounts, like we can see over here, you could split your products based on return on ad spend goals. And that's another way that you could cut the numbers to be able to segment products out. In this instance, for example, we might determine that we actually don't want a 2 ROAS goal across both these products. And we want to drive higher profit contribution on the t-shirts by going for a 4 return on ad spend. And therefore, we would need to pull this out into its own individual campaign to allow us to have the delineation of return on ad spend goals, as well as the ability for the campaign to optimize and potentially even put in bid caps to enable these ROAS goals to be achieved. Now, do I think it's completely reasonable in this instance to be able to yield a $12.50 CAC on a $50 product? It's tough. This is a very, very aggressive number, but I digress. Maybe this is a 3 ROAS and then it makes sense to segment accordingly. Now, the one note that I wanted to make at the end here was that you want to avoid bucketing too aggressively. The more you go and segment your campaigns out, particularly Advantage Plus campaigns, the less data you're going to have accumulating within each individual campaign, and therefore you're going to have worse customer modeling and worse performance. And this mental model applies directly to this structure, but it also applies in actual results. I've seen this to be the case consistently across accounts, where when we launch a bunch of Advantage Plus campaigns, we end up seeing an erosion in performance at an account level versus consolidating structures down, having multiple ads within a single Advantage Plus campaign, but enabling higher conversion volume to flow through. So to recap, the two options are: number one, large budget Advantage Plus campaign. Number two is segmenting 2 to 3 campaigns based on profit contribution or ROAS targets.